Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is Dark episode 3. So last episode we saw the hooded figure, we saw his face finally, and I am 100% convinced at this point that it is future Jonas. You know, we see Jonas start this adventure of unpacking this mystery of his dad, and I think what we are seeing is him further down the line, his process in further unpacking that, and for some reason now he is looking for Mikkel. We also saw something shady happening with Alexander and the power plant. Of course, Eric's dad was there, and Eric's dad is kind of in on it perhaps, but we also see the scene where they are transporting something away from the power plant because maybe they know they're gonna get a warrant and they're gonna get searched eventually, so they're hiding something, potentially a time machine. And then we also get to see where Mikkel actually is, and he is back in time, back in 1986, and he is seeing his dad Ulrich there when he was younger, and Katarina, his mum, as well, when they were younger. They just started dating perhaps. He is back there and he survived. He is at this point the only confirmed character who has survived a bit of time travel, because we see the body, who I'm assuming was Mads, died on the journey with the eyes all burnt out, and we don't really know what's happening with Eric at this point. We did see Eric's body being taken away by the hooded figure, by who I'm assuming is future Jonas. So Mikkel is the first person we know definitely has time traveled and definitely has survived. But of course, I'm making the assumption with the hooded figure that is also someone who can time travel and still survive. So before we jump into this, be sure to check out the Patreon page. Over there you can find 1 week early access, so you can get next week's video right now. You can also find polls, so you can vote for what's next. And you can find a full-length timer-based version of this, where you just sync up your own footage and you can watch along with me. So yeah, let's just jump right in. Oh, that's the bar that Mads really liked, isn't it? Raider bars. That's the chocolate he really liked. Okay, we're still here back in the 80s. Is this also, when did Mads go missing? How recently? Didn't seem like Ulrich was that upset. So is Mads still here? Will we meet him? So it wouldn't be a 33-year jump exactly, maybe? Or did they just swap places?
Mads? Wer bist du?
Oh, okay, so maybe Mads is missing.
Wo ist? Weißt du, wo Mads ist? Tut mir weh. Was machst du?
Yeah, okay, so Mads is missing actually. Okay, at this point where he is. I love the atmosphere that this song just gives. I just got chills just from it. Couldn't quite see that name tag. I don't know if that's important.
Fußball fahren. Ich dachte nur, du hast ja keine Familie. Ja, so wollte ich das jetzt nicht sagen. Ist kein...
Oh, I need to keep a track of that surname. That is the grandmother, isn't it? It is the grandmother who has that mole, Jonas's grandmother. Someone's time traveled, yeah. Oh, that music is great with it. That chanting. Is that just from Mikkel coming through, or is that something else?
Spitzt sich die Lage auf den heimischen Gewässern zu. So konnten im Rhein vermehrt Giftstoffe nachgewiesen werden.
Toxic chemicals, something going on there as well. Trying to pay attention to both things at once.
In Zukunft gehört den Mut.
Oh, she got to give a speech?
Und du schaffst es noch nicht mal, dir die Haare zu kämmen. Schau dich doch mal an.
No, you can't comb curly hair. You should know this. It will just make it even more frizzy.
Ich rede mit dir.
Yeah, Regina. We're being reintroduced to all of these characters again in their younger forms. Okay, Mikkel's just going to school. They haven't changed that yellow, it seems. Of course, you gotta have that 80s songs to match the vibe.
Na, bist du alt wie der Wald.
Oh, that's Hannah.
Ich suche meine Mama.
hier nicht der...
She's right there.
Ist das dann hier nicht Winden?
Yeah, he's still so confused, he hasn't figured it out. Can he see the resemblance with his mum, you know? Okay, Regina's mum works at the power plant too, so that's Bartosz's grandma.
Erster Tag als Chefin heute.
First day as boss, okay.
Ich habe immer gewusst, dass aus dir mal was wird.
Helge.
That's Helga. Works as a janitor at the power plant.
Das ist ein Buch.
Danke.
And wasn't that Eric's dad's job as well, a janitor there? Oh. No future. Oh, wow. Sheep as well?
Sind Sie sicher, dass es die richtigen Zahlen sind?
Ja?
Yeah, how much does she know about this facility? Does she know, like, potentially it's not even nuclear?
Der Ulrich Nielsen?
Arbeitet ihr denn nicht hier?
Nein. Und das wird er bestimmt auch nie. Ach, das ist ein Witz. Ist das auf Ulrichs Mist gewachsen?
Oh, he's not just gonna dismiss this all as a prank, is he, and send him on his way?
November
Welches Jahr?
1986.
He's figured it out. I mean, no one would ever believe him that he's from 2019.
Sich um das zu kümmern. Und ich kümmere mich in der Zeit um Ulrich.
Oh yeah, so Ulrich's gonna get the blame for all of the cuts. Oh, I've got a bit of a thing. Okay. How old actually is Mikhail here? Is he 12 as well? He mirrors Mad so much. I wouldn't have been surprised if he tried to disguise himself as Mads, you know? But then that would mess up the future timeline. Ulrich have a bit of a bad boy reputation then. They hate him because he listens to like heavy metal, and back in the 80s it's a bit less acceptable. Satanic Panic and all that. I wonder if that's why Ulrich got into policing as well, because of what happened to Mads. Oh, was he the one who graffitied that? The No Future? Been drinking on the job.
Ich will genau wie du, dass wir deinen Bruder finden.
Then why are you drinking on the job?
Hast du die Schafe getötet?
Wenn du dir nicht den ganzen Tag dein Hirn wegsaufen würdest.
You're just getting the blame for everything.
Schwester Ines macht jetzt einen Verband, okay? Und dann kannst du wieder nach Hause.
Yeah, what will he even do in this situation? He's got no identity, nowhere to go. Will she adopt him, perhaps? What? Jonas's dad? What was the relation? Was Hannah Innes's daughter, or was Jonas's dad Innes's son? If she adopts him, then is he Jonas's dad?
Ich hab dir gesagt, wenn es Leichen im Keller gibt, dann muss ich das wissen.
Yeah, lots of skeletons in the closet.
Wir haben 612 Angestellte, exklusive...
Alle.
Yeah, the whole town is because of this power plant. It employs everyone.
Dann sollte ich umso mehr wissen, was das zu bedeuten hat.
Yeah, she can't run the power plant without knowing the secret of it. Is that a Rotring? Who is this? Ah, that's Charlotte.
Frau, die Leitung des AKW.
Oh, his daughter is... Okay, Claudia.
Fehlt dir mein Hof? Nein.
Yeah, you can't blame that on Ulrich.
Kennst du dich mit Satanisten aus?
Du glaubst, das waren Satanisten?
Yeah, Satanist, Satanic Panic, I called it earlier.
Trommelfälle sind geplatzt. Auf beiden Seiten.
Okay. Does a sonic boom happen when they teleport, when they time travel? And that's why the birds die, the eardrums burst and they just like fall from the sky or something. But then we would potentially hear when someone time travels as well. There's so many relations and things being revealed this episode. I feel like I need to do another family tree for the 80s.
Was wir wissen, ist ein Tropfen. Was wir nicht wissen, ein Ozean.
Okay. Okay, part of the cave system again. She doing that in heels? What is she thinking? What a girl boss, just doing it in heels and a power suit.
Ich komme aus der Zukunft.
Does she actually believe it? Does he have like anything on him that can prove he's from 2019 as well? Okay. Is that just all the toxic waste? But is it even toxic waste? Like, what if that's all bodies they're trying to hide in there or something? Every barrel is a body. What was that? Was that a bruise? I couldn't quite tell if that was a bruise or it was a weird shape. A sonic boom, someone time traveling. Birds are falling from the sky, yeah, okay. Was that someone just coming through or someone just leaving? And it's causing like an EMP, all the electrics to stutter about. So is the whole town gonna think this is some like satanic thing happening here? I mean, for them, that's like the most logical explanation. Oh, Charlotte's experienced this multiple times. Yeah, that does actually look a bit like Charlotte, yeah. I can see the resemblance now. Is this because is something happening at the power plant that's causing this? Or has someone come through somewhere? Could it be the hooded figure looking for Mikhail? Oh, and Mikhail's escaped.
Hey, Hannah.
Hey, Ulrich.
Have they had a little bit of a thing since all the way back then? There seems like a bit more of an age gap back then. Oh, yeah. Just try and go back through the cave. That makes sense. You came out the other side here, so if you go back through, will you go back?
Ich glaube, Winden will nicht so einfach weg.
Na,
Would there ever be a moment where Winden suddenly disappears somehow? Like the whole town gets lost to time? I mean, how do you even search for Mikhail at this point? They don't even know his name. Okay, yeah, showing the back and forth. Just to confirm, you know, who's who. Oh, okay. Oh, Tannhaus. And that's the book that Hooded Figure had. What is future Regina doing there? Oh, she doesn't have cancer, does she? Looks like she's checking for a spot. There's Charlotte starting her investigative work already at that young age. And she's seeing it again in the future. Yeah, yeah. It's happening again. All happening again. Okay. I don't like this sound effect. Back in 2019. Oh, he's got a golf club. Was that a goal? Yeah, I think so. Like he was going to attack someone. Oh, he's just going to break into the facility. Oh, it's a crowbar. Okay. That makes more sense.
Hallo!
And that is like affecting the past. Can you hear that a bit? It's like causing this static. It's like this echo through time a bit, past and present. They were so close to each other as well, weren't they? This is such a great use of split screen as well. It's not cheesy at all or anything. A watchmaker or a clockmaker? Making the time machine. Okay. I'm assuming that's a time machine. Didn't really recognize him at all. The inventor there at the end. Oh! That kind of just gave it away, the credits. I was just looking at the credits because the credits was having everyone's surnames there because I wanted to get everyone's surnames. So, but I think that just gave it away. Yeah, it's Tannhaus who wrote the book, The Journey Through Time, that future Jonas has, and now Claudia has as well. Okay, so that was Dark episode 3. A lot going on there. We're getting this whole like plot thread now of everything happening in 1986, which is really great for the show, but I'm just thinking like, am I gonna need to make a whole nother family tree for all of the stuff here? Because there's so many new characters and characters we know, but in like a new context when they were younger. It's just a lot to keep track of who is who. I think I got most of it, but there were still a few where I like wasn't quite sure. But like, you know, we've got younger Charlotte, younger Hannah, younger Inez, which is very exciting. Claudia, who is Regina's mum. I don't think we've met Claudia yet in 2019. It could be that she's not around in 2019, and there's probably a few more that we need to be introduced to, like Jonas's therapist, Charlotte's husband. Will he be here in the past? I'm not sure. But my biggest theory here is Mikhail is Michael. Michael, they sound so similar. Inez adopts Mikhail because he's got a blank identity, a blank slate. He's got nowhere else to go. She seemed very compassionate. Then so she adopts him. Then later on he goes on and meets Hannah. They have a kid, and that becomes Jonas. And if Jonas is the hooded figure, that completely explains why he was looking for Mikhail. I even said last episode, like, why would he look for Mikhail and not his dad? Has he found his dad or what? But if he's looking for Mikhail, he is looking for his dad because they're the same person. That makes complete sense in my mind. And then at the end there, we got a little glimpse at H.G. Tannhaus, who is this scientist who wrote the book about the time travel and is actually maybe the inventor of time travel in general. He was there like inventing that machine that we see the hooded figure has, and I'm assuming it is a time machine. And I don't think it was actually that big a spoiler me seeing that in the credits, because on the back of the book there is a portrait of him and it is the same person. I was also wondering like, if I recognize Tannhaus, like could he possibly be another character from like timeline wise? And I don't think so. I even was like, HG, could that be anyone? The only male character beginning with H is Helga, and he's way too old, and we've seen what he looks like when he's older and when he's younger, and he looks nothing like Tannhaus, so I don't think it's him. Not every character has to be, you know, another character from a different timeline. They can just be standalone characters too. I've been trying to keep track of the surnames a bit better here as well, and I think I have most of them. Jonas's family is Canwald, Ulrich's family is Nielsen, Charlotte family is Doppler, and I think maybe that's what they were talking about in Doppler in episode 1. They were just talking about Charlotte and that family instead of Doppler as in the scientist Doppler and the Doppler effect. But maybe there is still some connection there, or some foreshadowing or something. And then there's Tiedemann, which is Claudia and Regina, and there's Claudia, who is this new character we're introduced to this episode, who is like the new head of the power plant. And we're also introduced to her dad, I believe, who is this police officer that came before Ulrich and Charlotte. And we see with Charlotte, you know, she's been drawing these dead birds, finding these dead birds since she was a kid. So this has been like some mystery for her for like her entire life, potentially. I don't know, like, is there any points in between now and 33 years ago where she found any other dead birds that could indicate time traveling? Because it seems like at this point it's like these two major time periods, the 2019 and the 1986, but I'm wondering, you know, will there be any more or any events in between that could indicate towards things, or is it just like these two time periods that are most important? And then I have no idea if this is significant or not, but you know, when the time travel happens, it obviously affects animals. From the sounds of it, it's like there's a sonic boom and it bursts the eardrums of all of those sheep, and it bursts the eardrums of the birds, and for some reason that kills the birds, or they can't navigate and end up falling from the sky, you know. But the sheep, there were 33 sheep dead, and it's exactly 33 years, the time travel. So like, is there some significance there, or is that just a coincidence that it's 33 years, 33 sheep died? Or is there something where where things can only happen in 33s, like you can only jump 33 years each way, forward and backwards? Or is there like some more significance to 33 in any way? I also liked the leading in with the Raider bars, you know, that bit of setup in episode 1 that we learned that Mads loved Raider bars, and then the start of this episode there's an ad for Raider bars, just to show, you know, the time travel, to show we're in that time period. Although I don't know if Raider bars are still a thing in 2019, we never really saw them in that timeline. So Claudia, brand new power plant operator, the new manager there or whatever, and, you know, already off the bat, she goes there, things aren't right, things are off the books, something's wrong, there's some big secret, and she goes talk to this other guy in the wheelchair. I'm not sure if I caught his name or not, but you know, he is telling her the information we know is just a drop, and what we don't know is a vast ocean of information, essentially. And she goes down into this cave where it looks like nuclear waste. It's like barrels of nuclear waste. My big theory at the moment is if they're doing time travel and experiments with time travel and it's causing a lot of bodies to pile up, is that how they are disposing of the bodies? Because if you stuff it in there, you know, no one's going to come along and open a canister of like nuclear waste, are they? It's a perfect way to hide a body, I assume. So are those just full of dead bodies of kids with their eyes burnt out, just like Mads was? And if we did see like a tiny bit of the future there, but I really want to see, you know, what's going on. You know, they still haven't figured out that it was Mads' body yet. I'm really surprised they haven't. I wonder if they ever will actually, or is that just something that us as an audience knows and the characters never find out? But that feels like that will be a big revelation for Ulrich. And then that'll be how he discovers that time travel is actually a thing. Also, on my theory of Mikkel being Michael, is the letter that is written to Enes, and that letter was delivered. It's the day that Michael died, and it was also the day Mikkel goes missing, which makes a lot of sense. You know, him maybe wanting to die before his younger self goes missing, because maybe there'll be some like DNA that they could figure out that they're the same person, or something like that. So he didn't want that risk and him being like exposed for somehow having the same DNA as Mikkel. And I'm guessing this letter he wrote, it might just be saying, hey, Mikkel's going missing today, that was me, you know, thank you for looking after me for all of these years, but I can't go on anymore. Because I feel like, you know, he said he was from the future, but I don't know how much Ines believed it. It did look like she believed it a little bit when he said, but I think now, in modern day, in 2019, she probably does believe it, especially if he can predict that Mikkel went missing. I mean, like, if he predicted Mikkel goes missing, he could be, like, suspect number 1. But, of course, I don't think she would expose him like that and share that letter publicly. And, of course, he is dead in that timeline too. And by a few months, actually, because he it was like a few months in between him dying and then Mikkel going missing, wasn't it? Because it was, don't open this letter till this day. It wasn't he died on that day that Mikkel went missing. And we have younger Ulrich here. You know, seems like a bit of a bad boy, a bit of a bad reputation. The policeman knew exactly who he was straight away. He was like, the Ulrich Nilsson? Yeah, I'm going over to their house. And there's obviously a little bit of like satanic panic there because he's listening to heavy metal and the way he dresses and the way his room was set out. I did also notice in Ulrich's room he had "No Future" written on his wall, and then that was the graffiti outside the power plant. So was he the one to do that, or is "No Future" like more significant somehow, like that's like a signifier for a group of people, or like just a band, you know, that's got an album called No Future, so he has a poster on his wall, he has it on his wall, and then someone's spray painted it there. Or like, I am wondering what the meaning is, the no future there, because we know obviously there is a future, there's 2019, but is that just like a stance against the power plant? Was he always against the power plant for some reason, if he was the one to do that graffiti? We also saw a younger Helga this episode, and he is actually a janitor at the power plant. So I saw a few similarities there between him and Jürgen, because Jürgen was also a janitor at the power plant, and Jürgen is Eric's dad, right? So like, is there some sort of connection, or is it just, you know, janitor is a job that's easy to get at the power plant, I guess. I'm assuming Helga was the janitor there, but he could have been like slightly higher up. I don't know, was he just cleaning up because he had to, or was he just like a janitor there? I'm not quite sure. We also see Trond, who is the dad of Ulrich, who is in a relationship with Ulrich's mum, who's Jana, right? But he is cheating on her with Claudia, so it kind of runs in the family a bit, not being faithful. But could that mean that it is ever revealed that potentially Regina is actually related to Ulrich in some way, like they are actually siblings, because Trond got Claudia pregnant and they didn't realize, you know, whose kid was who, if it would, you know, that way potentially? Because we've seen Claudia, she has the kid Regina, but we never actually see who the husband or who the dad is. So, you know, that could be a big reveal that Ulrich and Regina are actually siblings. That's quite a wild theory, but I'm not completely ruling it out as a possibility. But then, like, what does that mean for Bartosz and Marta's relationship? Or does that make them relationship-wise? I guess then they'd be cousins, wouldn't they? So that's a no-no, that relationship. But then that could give Jonas the opportunity to swoop back in there. Yeah, if that is the case, that does have some weird implications, and I feel like if everyone is so intertwined like this, there could be a lot of that. I do have to say with this episode as well, again, the casting is great. The past and the present, the characters, they do look so much alike, and it's one thing to get them to look alike, but to also have good actors that look alike as well, that's just a whole nother level too. There was also this moment where Hannah was talking to Ulrich and they were saying, what would you want most in the world? And then he said, for Winden to disappear. And I don't know, that feels like it could be a bit of foreshadowing. Something happens to Winden in the future, like what if some experiment at the plant goes wrong and it explodes, and like from the outside it looks like it's wiped it off of the face of the earth, but actually it's teleported the whole town in time or something. That would be really cool. Or like something like along those lines where it makes it seem like the town has disappeared. I also really loved this episode right at the end, this like montage of all of the characters with that split screen showing the young and the old. That was really cool, and I think it's a good way to show the audience, you know, who was who, just in case anyone was a bit confused there. So I think that's everything. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, consider leaving a like or a comment. And if you really loved it, be sure to subscribe so you can keep up to date for all the future uploads. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.